all of those mid-level white collar workers who were in place to generate reports, they're just going to be gone. Give it
Yeah.
3-5 years. They will be gone because it'll be a competitive advantage for a company who eliminates them. They're all going to get highly specialized GPTs that know their corporate data. Some companies are going to do it too fast. They're going to say, we don't need all of you. It's like, you do. You know, you're relying on that computer that doesn't know your business really yet. Yeah, well, it's an mad dash for a lot of people. Even, well, I'll give you the most direct one. I have an assistant, virtual assistant, not virtual, she's a real person. And we were talking about ChatGPT last year, and I said, Stephanie, you got to get yourself on ChatGPT because all the stuff that you do and all the stuff that most white collar workers do is easily automatable. You know, no matter what you think of it, it's like, if you really think about what white collar workers do, there's a lot of reports. There's a lot of gathering of facts and reporting on those facts, doing some simple analysis. You know, it's all automatable, particularly when you've got a UI that is, you can just type in English, you know, and it'll get what you're talking about. So that's transforming, and that's what's going to happen in corporations. Yeah. Right. They're all going to get highly specialized GPTs that know their corporate data and, you know, shields it away from other people so you don't give away your farm. But all of those mid-level white collar workers who were in place to generate reports, they're just going to be gone, right? Give it 3-5 years. They will be gone because it'll be a competitive advantage for a company who eliminates them, right? So it's going to be a race to the bottom on that. Some companies are going to do it too fast. They're going to say, we don't need all of you. It's like, you do. You know, you're relying on that computer that doesn't know your business really yet. So they're gone. Now, inside places like Microsoft, there is a mad dash to leverage these tools. Now, when I was there in the office of the CTO, one of the first things we recognized was whoever kind of cracks the code on having the machine program the machine is going to dominate, because once the machine truly can program, you know, and right now it's just kind of, you know, wobbling at the knees and can't really program, but it thinks it can. But once it truly can, and we're not that far off, you wipe out a bunch of people that get paid $500,000 a year, right? And that's going to happen.
So crushing dreams, man. What?
No. So the truth is, you have to recognize that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now you have a choice. You can get on top of it, right? The first thing I said, go get a ChatGPT subscription, right? You can get on top of it and say, how do I leverage this tool? And I had this conversation with my brother just the other day. I said, look, we're being, and this will be perhaps blasphemous, we're being given God powers as far as what we 20 years ago thought we were capable of. What we're now being handed is programmers is magic. So either you become a musician or you become part of the crowd that's duped by musicians, right? So it's as simple as that. It's like, okay, it's just a new tool. Forget about the overlord stuff and the machines crushing us and all that. We have a new set of tools. We need to learn how to wield those tools. And if we don't, those tools will be applied to us. And we'll just be like, wow, it's magic to me. I don't know. Right? Yeah. So it's a mad dash, and the time frames are very short. Yeah, I've had this discussion with a number of people where I say, okay, well, it's critical. It really makes you think about, what is your value? What is the thing that you know that other people don't know, or the thing that everybody knows, but you just do it better? You know, what is your true value? And if it's not value, you know, I might say, well, I'm the best person on the planet to create UI programs. You know, I just have an eye for it that's better. So I'm going to create an AI that programs UI in my style, right? So you have to find out, well, what are the tools you can use to create an AI that has your capabilities so that you can get into a marketplace so that people can subscribe to your AI services, right? So there has to be a marketplace for that. And then we've got to think about, well, what's my true value? And it's hard, right? Because a lot of times you don't think about your true value. You go, you get the job, you get paid to do mediocre work. So you're going to be hard pressed, right? It's like, well, what's your unique value? Because not all humans are the same. We are different, and not everyone's a superstar, but is that required? You know? And the other part of it is, I think it's not all like only the top of the top of the top are going to survive. I think the tools allow us to express ourselves more and show more values than just being the top programmer in the world. The top programmer in the world gets a few $1 million and the rest of us don't, right? It's like, well, I'm not a top programmer. I'm a good storyteller. Yeah. And I want to amplify that. Now I'm going to use these AI tools to help, tell stories in my method, because my method of storytelling is better than anyone else's, right? Yeah. And this is particularly true, and you haven't asked this yet, but when you look at cultural things like, African cultures are rich in storytelling. I mean, we had that before we had written languages. So it may be that you find a whole lot more African storytelling being a prominent thing. And you can see this in the fact that there's plenty of at least in America, there's plenty of African-American entertainers. It's like, oh, there's something there, and it's not just all shucking and jiving. It's like, no, we're good storytellers culturally, historically, and that might be something that people are willing to pay for. Yes, we pay tons of money for music and games and movies and, Yeah. So there you go. I think there's just opportunities but it requires you to think, what am I really good at? And stop chasing after what other people are good at. What am I good at? And let me use these tools to amplify what I'm good at.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, that could really give people a competitive advantage. In a way, it's kind of like you're creating like a digital twin of yourself, right? Like if Issa Rae can make like an AI trained storytelling platform, or Spike Lee, or, anything like that, that would be like amazing. And it could just really help you, further carve out your niche. But I think that's kind of I think that's a great way to kind of like amplify your superpower. But you're right, it does take a lot of like self-discovery and figuring out what am I good at, what am I passionate about, and am I different than William? How am I different from John? But
and it throws everything in out of whack, right? Because in the past, the formula was like, keep your head down, go to school, get the job, get the good paycheck, raise your family, die, right? That was the formula. Now it's like, school or not school? I think that's a big question. And then, what are you learning? Well, you need to learn to discover who you are is most important. You need to discover your passions, because that's where your greatest creativity is going to come from. And then you need to learn how to amplify your passion into something where you can get paid.
Yeah. Right? That's a must.
That's the game, right?